Job advisors will be placed in GP surgeries to help thousands of long-term sick and disabled people back into work. That's the announcement the government has made this morning.
More than 40,000 people will receive the support, but will it be effective in bringing down the ballooning benefits bill with spending on working age disability benefits expected to hit £70 billion by the end of this Parliament? Well, Work and Pensions Secretary Pat McFadden joins us now. We know we've got too many people that can't get into work. We know the benefits bill is incredibly high. But is this the right way to tackle it? It's being sold as a carrot and a positive thing, but for many it does feel like a stick.
I don't think it should. What we're trying to do here is deal with a problem that's been in the benefit system for some time, which is people come to a fork in the road. And they're either declared fit for work, in which case they go down one path, and they go to the job centre and they have the expectations that go with that, or they're declared unfit for work, and very often they're never contacted again other than through the receipt of the benefits, but they're not really contacted to see whether their condition has changed or whether with extra help they could get into work. So what we're trying to do with this programme, Connect to Work, and other similar initiatives is to break that binary divide and that fork in the road and say to people, with the right help and support, could you get into work? And we've got some really successful case studies. It's very early days, but we want to put this in place in more parts of the country than has been the case up until now. It's relatively new, but what we really want to do, the message in this, is if people can work, then work is good for you. And I want the Department of Work and Pensions to be active in this, to be offering people the right support to help them to get into work.
There's two different aspects to this. The first is about these job advisors. We talked to a GP earlier today who said this is going to be the benefit police coming into a GP surgery. It will put people off coming into the surgery. But you're saying that in the surgery, the advice is voluntary. It's not going to be forcing people to do things.
That's right. I think that's benefits police is a misconception here. That's not what's offered here. This is really intense, valuable support to get into work. And actually, we've had a number of people referred, for example, local mental health teams or health centres where they've been treated for a particular problem. They've raised the idea that they might want to get back to work. And the mental health team has said, well, we don't really do that, but we can refer you to this help that does. That's what we're talking about here, and that can really help people. And if I might say, this is also partly designed to deal with the changing nature of the conditions under which people are being signed off sick. If we went back, say, 20 or 30 years, most of those conditions would have been physical disabilities. It's a much more mixed picture now. Many of the conditions that people are signed off long-term sick for are mental health conditions. And I think we need a more flexible approach for those to deal with the reality of the benefit system today and not the way it was 20 or 30 years ago.
It makes perfect sense that mental health charities are not there to offer advice about the steps into work. But why not send them to a job centre then? And why not fund the mental health systems that are in place so that people can get appointments? Because that's the big complaint, isn't it?
Well, there's 2 points there. The job centre might be suitable for some people. It's not suitable for everyone. I think in today's world, I want the department and the way that we do this to be more flexible. To give you a different example, a couple of weeks ago, I was down at Crystal Palace Football Club, where we had a youth hub helping young people into work in a place where they would rather go than be in a job centre. So my objective is to help people get into work, not to be rigid about saying, in order to do that, you absolutely have to come to the job centre. On mental health support, I quite agree that the more that this arises in the country, the more that we discover about this, we do need the treatment as well. And as people get the treatment, and what this programme is finding is as people get the treatment and they get a bit better, sometimes they're saying, maybe I could go back to work now. Now, it won't be the mental health team who'll be the specialists in helping them do that. It will be the people through this Connect to Work programme and other programmes like it. So I see this as help in tackling a group of people who've been too readily written off before. Work is good for you if you can do it. It's better for you individually. It's probably better in the long term for your mental health, better for your finances. And it's also, of course, if we can get more people into work, better for the taxpayer too.
But I think, Pat McFadden, what people are wondering is how you're going to make the savings, which you need, billions of pounds, from this huge rise in people who are on incapacity, sickness benefit, rather than actively looking for work. They're wondering what you and the Chancellor are planning for the budget. And what they think is going to happen is that people who were given that diagnosis of being unwell, of being sick, having mental illnesses, that they were therefore not required to look for work. You're going to say, change the benefit rules and say certain medical categories, you'll have to look for work, you'll have to take a job, and if you don't, you would have a benefit sanction. Is that where this is going, that young people who are at the moment classified as sick will still have to look for work or lose their benefit?
Well, I think we should be concerned about the number of young people who are being classified as sick. The number on long-term sickness benefits under the age of 25 has more than doubled in the last 5 years. 80% of them are citing a mental health condition for that. So I think that begs two questions. One is, what is actually happening here? And the second is, what is the right policy response to it? I do believe we should start with young people. That's why we announced a youth guarantee at our party conference last week, to take a much more active approach to this group of people who we refer to as not in employment, education or training. That group has been growing in recent years. So, you know, we are the Labour Party. We believe in the value of work. And I want to get the right help and support to people who could work if they had access to such help and support. And that's what the programme today is all about.
You're saying that the Youth Jobs Guarantee will apply to people who are not just unemployed, but also on sickness benefits. And therefore, if they don't take the job which is on offer, that guarantee, they could lose their benefit even if it is a disability or a sickness benefit.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that, and the budget's 2 months away, and you're asking about the budget. What we're announcing is a much more active welfare state to get the help and support for people who've been written off too easily, who've reached that fork in the road, and who are sometimes not contacted by the system in years. I don't think that's right. I think the changing nature of the conditions that the benefit system is dealing with demands a different response to the one that we might have had in place some decades ago. And the programme that we're announcing today is evidence of that. We're not going to give up on people. We're not going to write them off. We believe in the value of work.
We should ask you, you're our government minister this morning, as important as all that is, that we've had this extraordinary breaking news overnight. It appears there is an agreement due to be signed in the next couple of hours between Israel and Hamas, broken largely by President Trump and many others as well. What role did the UK and Sir Keir Starmer play in getting us to this point, and what role should they play in the future?
Well, we support the plan that was announced last week. Prime Minister Keir Starmer announced that at the Labour Party conference last week when the plan was announced. I think the overnight news is a tremendously important moment for the world. It gives a sense of hope that hasn't been there in recent years. Of course, it's fragile. Anything and many things can go wrong in the Middle East. But if this holds, it should mean the release of all the hostages, whether they are alive or dead, the return to their families. That's hugely important. It should mean the allowing of humanitarian aid into Gaza, where people are living in such desperate circumstances. But even more important than both of those things, I think it holds out the prospect, only the prospect, but the prospect of a more stable long-term future for Gaza, for Israel and for the whole region. And we haven't had that prospect for many, many years.
Pat McFadden, thank you so much for joining us this morning.